Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 14 of Beesler's Book Buzz. It is Tuesday again, so time for another episode. Let's get right into it. And our first little bit of nuggets, I'm starting with some news that's come out in the past few days. And I'm starting off with PlayStation. I know it's a book buzz, but some of those things that's going on with PlayStation is, you know, book adjacent, in my humble opinion. But PlayStation announced it's got manufacturing costs rising to $960 for components, and the Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO, he, um, uh, President Nishino, sorry, Nishino, shouldn't try that, but anyhow, is saying that it's not realistic to absorb all components costs, and yeah, that's just if you happen to be a PlayStation fan, I'm just wanting to put that out there for you. And also in PlayStation news that it's removing purchased Studio Canal content from the libraries of its users due to licensing arrangements, and that's going to happen like September 1st, 2026. So yeah, if you happen to be, a PlayStation owner and you have like Studio Canal content, it's gonna go bye-bye. There's like hundreds of movies, I think maybe up to 551 from what I saw on the news. So, and yeah, the reason why I think this is book related, book adjacent, is because um, you get these, digital devices and you buy content, you pay content, and you all of a sudden lose access to that content, which you paid for with your own hard-earned money. And so, yeah, people are getting really themed about the, you know, streaming services and, other forms of online content. You put something in the library, you expect it to be there, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore. So, yeah, but yeah, I'll talk more about this in a minute. But the third nugget that I found is Penguin Random House and Ingram Library Services. They're kind of launching a POD program, print on demand program, specifically to assist libraries in replenishing rare backlist titles, specifically hardcover. And this is according to Publishers Weekly. And I think this is great. We seem to be in this age where we're, with everything that's going on with AI, the tech industries, and all that other stuff, people are wanting to shift away from, digital, especially when you got stuff like what's going on with PlayStation. So, yeah, I think that this last little tidbit would be ideal to get more hardcover copies of rare to find books, back in the library so they're accessible to more people. So, yeah, I also, ever since March, I've actually been like, wow, print is actually, for a while there, people thought like, oh, ebooks are here to stay, and they are, I admit that. But people were like thinking that ebooks would be the death of print, and it may have seemed like that for a time, but like I said, with what's going on with technology and all that stuff, people are shifting back towards analog. You see that with vinyl records, with CDs, VHS tapes. I mean, I've seen like a couple, video rental store places like popping up on like my internet feed. So yeah, I think that it's come to, excuse me, wow, I didn't even eat breakfast this morning and I'm still, you know, doing this. I guess it really doesn't matter if I eat breakfast or not before the show. So, anyhow, I digress. So, back to what I was saying about, the analog. And ever since March, when somebody bought four print copies of my Interstellar Dad series, I'm like been on this whole like, wow, I can actually see why people would want to do this, especially when you got the PlayStation news and all that stuff, with content being locked out, because of licensing and all that stuff. And if that can happen to video games, it can happen to like the e-readers that I have. So I'm actually, I've actually gotten like, let's see here, if I can just pull this up on my phone really quick here. I was so excited to get this too. Let's see here. Gallery. Okay. Yeah, let me just bring it in really close if I can. Yeah, yeah. So I got those two books of Clown in the Cornfield, numbers 2 and 3, from Adam Caesar, and cannot get enough. And of course, once again, here's Terrified. I'm almost done reading this, and I will, like I said, I'll have a review for it. Uh, but yeah, it's just like there's a shift, a gravitational pull back towards, print. And I actually saw that over the course of the last weekend or two, where I actually went to an indie bookstore and found a nice little nugget. I think I may have posted about it last week. If I did, you can refer to episode number 13. If not, well, I don't have that book on with me right now. And it was just the wildest experience, though, because, excuse me, again, trying not to, interfere with trying to talk about this thing. But oh, it was wild because there was hardly any standing room in the indie bookstore that I went to. This would have been Eagle Harbor Books Company, I think it's called. It's on Bainbridge Island, Washington. So I'm gonna actually frequent that place a lot more often, especially since I'm shifting towards getting my books into bookstores because I've enjoyed the journey of being, ebook, audiobook, and all that stuff. But this whole thing with the whole, you know, digital content no longer being accessible, I want my books to be accessible to people. And if I have to get them on the bookshelves, I'm going to work towards that goal. So, yeah, so that's probably why I, ordered uh, business cards, which, they came in the mail. I haven't been able to get to the mailbox to access them. Sorry about that again. I'm trying not to, yawn or do anything else, I'm just trying to get through this video. I'm almost done. So, but yeah, I think that there's a huge shift and people have been let down by technology, the industry, and with the way things are going, analog is coming back. I think the pendulum has swung all the way from technology and swing back towards analog. And I want physical copies of books to reach my readers, that sort of thing. Hmm. So there you have it. My goal is to, get into bookstores, get into bookshelves, I gotta learn about consignment versus wholesale. So I'm gonna be doing that. I mean, you think this is stuff that I would know already with 20 year, 20 books behind me. But I've actually just been, not to make a pun or anything, content to just make digital content, ebooks and audiobooks, for the past while. But not to make another pun, but the writing's kind of on the wall. Then I'm really wanting to get print books out there, paperback, and I also want to try and do hardcovers if I can. So I've got goals, to get my books into bookstores, and I'm going to a book festival August 9th in Bremerton, Washington. It's easy for me to get there because it's in my town, so there's no reason why I can't go to this thing. So, yeah, I'm gonna have my business cards ready and just meet up with these bookstore vendors, indie bookstore vendors, and just see what it's all about. I know there's at least one science fiction fantasy bookstore that's going to be out there. So wish me luck on that front. And I think that week's episode of the Beesler's Book Buzz I will record on my phone as opposed to my laptop. So get a little bit of a different feel for that episode as I work the thing. So anyhow, that's all that I have time for today. I'm thank you everybody who's been supporting me and the Beesler's Book Buzz and just I'm so glad that I've been able to get through the whole month of June without missing a single episode, which wasn't easy because there was 5 Tuesdays in the month, and yeah, the hardest one, of course, is being the first Tuesday of the month. But excuse me again, I, I just gotta wrap this up so I can go back to all this yawning and all this other stuff. Anyhow, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you again next week and with more Beasler's Book Buzz, maybe a review, maybe some news, whatever's going on out there. So have a great week ahead of you guys, and thank you again for all your support. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.